When the sun sets and the twilight settles, we're left with only darkness and whatever lurks within it. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm your host, Maria Segura, and you're listening to Seattle Public Radio at 1 in the morning. Tonight, filling our 1 a.m. slot, the late-night radio horror, Elder Tome, starring Jasmine Jiang as Hazel Blair and Anthony Mendoza as Jason Reed, featuring narration performed by David Zybert. Now, let's sit back and listen as Hazel Blair investigates the Black Pillar.
My son, heed my words. I have seen the heralds of our world's destruction, their tendrils descending from the swirling heavens. I have seen the long-forgotten gods and evils that lie in wait for their callings. I have seen the darkened minions that plot in the depths of our world, their counterparts drifting toward us through the cosmic void. Protect yourself, my son. Always remember the Elder Sign. Jason and Hazel sat at her dining table, the Elder Tome sprawled out upon it. For the last few hours, Jason had looked over the book, minding over its strange text and horrifying ink illustrations. Hazel sat across from Jason, staring at him as she watched his eyes trace the arcane symbols and follow the written words. They had been sitting there, in silence, for hours. All Jason did was flip pages every so often, taking in all that the book seemed to offer. But finally, the silence was broken. He gave a breathy laugh, his eyes not leaving the page. Hazel kept her eyes focused on him as he leaned back in his chair.
So, let me get this straight. You found this book at a crime scene.
Yes.
But not just any crime scene, but the Kveton crime scene from a month ago.
Look, Jason, how many times do you want me to go over this? Yes, I snuck into the Kveton house the day after my accident and I took the book. So what?
I just want to try and understand this. I mean, you're telling me that you had this book, one that you stole from a crime scene, for almost a month.
Yeah, I've been looking over it and, I don't know, pretty much cataloging it since I got it.
You found this behind a secret wall in the library.
Yeah, Mrs. Kveton said there was something in her basement. I think this is what Timothy Kveton and the other hitmen were trying to kill for. It could also be the reason someone broke into the house that night.
When we saw her the next day, she didn't tell us about this. All she did with us was babble.
I don't know what to tell you, Jason. I wasn't even sure I was going to tell you about all this, but something happened and I thought you should know. I thought you'd be able to help.
What do you mean, something happened?
Something happened tonight, okay?
What do you mean, something happened?
It's nothing.
Hazel, you tell me to come to your house, so I did. Well, I wait outside your door only to find you covered in dirt. That seems a bit out of the ordinary. And then you pull out some kind of freakish book and say that this is what you've been doing with your spare time. I need to know what the hell is going on. I'd like to know what the hell made you think it would be a good idea to take this from the crime scene.
It's clear that the breaking and entering at the Kveton house was a failed robbery. This book is apparently so important that people would not only rob someone for it, but they would kill people for it. It's also so important that Daniel Kveton had to compile and hide it in a secret room hidden away from even his own family. And I think it was meant for someone to find. for me to find.
Hazel, have you seen a doctor about the accident at the hospital?
What does that...
Answer the question.
Are you interrogating me?
You stole this from a crime scene, Hazel. I should arrest you right here for withholding evidence. But first, I want to know, have you seen a doctor?
No, I haven't.
And you say you heard voices in the Blevin house.
Yeah, as I went...
Then you saw a figure, something in a yellow robe. Something you couldn't look at because your head hurt too much to view it.
Yeah, but it's not...
Hazel, I don't know much about the subject, but I've heard that sometimes, when the brain is rattled in the skull, if there's a developed or developing tumor already present, the movement can cause it to push against new parts of the brain.
You can't be serious. I don't have a tumor.
Irregular sleep, disorganization, difficulty handling mood swings, depression, and now, after the accident, hallucinations and pressure behind the eyes. All signs of a brain tumor.
Lots of the symptoms you listed can also relate to a whole goddamn book of mental illnesses.
Right now, I'm not ruling those out either.
You're being serious. Not only do you not believe me, but you think there's something wrong with me.
You've been acting strange ever since the accident at the hospital. No matter what it is, it's not your fault.
I'm telling the truth, Jason. I know what I'm talking about. The book is proof that this is all legitimate.
All this book proves to me is that Daniel Blevin was losing it as he passed. He was dying and his brain was failing him. This is probably a product of what he saw and thought while he was slowly losing grip on reality.
No, this is all real. I know it is after tonight.
Speaking of tonight, why don't you tell me why you're covered in dirt?
I will not be interrogated in my own home, Jason.
If you want me to even possibly believe you, you'll tell me.
I saw Daryl Crick after you called me. I went to see him at the Sunset Boulevard Motel.
What? Why?
I went to see him because when I went back to the barn, something happened.
When I sent you back? Yeah, you fell.
No, I didn't fall. I had found a trapdoor hidden beneath these huge piles of hay. When I was just about to leave, something came at me. I couldn't remember what it was, but it attacked me. I managed to get away, but after you called about it being a possible animal attack, I knew that whatever was in the barn that came at me was what killed Richard Allen. I went to see Daryl Crick, and he explained to me what was happening. He said that every few nights these people would show up and do bizarre stuff in the crawl space under the barn.
Of course he'd say that, Hazel. The man didn't have his medication.
He also said he didn't try explaining any of this to you because he knows people like you won't understand or believe people like us.
People like us? What are you talking about?
Jason, tonight I saw something God, I really can't explain it without it sounding crazy.
Well, try, Hazel.
I thought that Mrs. Allen would want to know what Daryl said. Maybe try and get her off the farm while I took a look around. When I went back, she wasn't there. Or at least I thought she wasn't. I thought I would take a look at the crawl space. It was locked last time I saw it, so this time I thought maybe I'd break into it and see what was there.
You went back into the barn without a warrant and tried to damage property?
Do you want me to tell you what happened or not?
Keep going.
When I went back to the crawl space, it was open. I went down and saw this ritual set up. A metal bowl dug into the floor, a music stand with these strange pages and some sort of red light. That was when I was flanked from behind by Mrs. Allen.
Mrs. Allen? The grieving widow.
Will you please shut up and let me explain this to you? God, she attacked me, and she was wearing this black robe. We struggled, but she had the upper hand and knocked me out cold. When I woke up, I was tied up, and that's when she killed herself.
Mrs. Allen killed herself?
Well, I wouldn't say that. She turned into some kind of... I don't know, I can't really describe it. It was so surreal. Next thing I know, I was unbound and no one was there, so I ran. That's when I decided to tell you about the book, because I don't think I can do this by myself. I don't...
Hazel, come on. This is just... Look, there's no way any of this...
Jason, I'm telling you the truth. I know what I saw. She killed herself with a knife in a crawl space under the barn. It was all part of some sort of ritual. I saw it with my own 2 eyes when she transformed into some kind of demon.
No. That's fucking crazy talk. Hazel, come on. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think this is funny or something?
I'm telling you the truth!
No, this isn't the truth. You may think it is, but what you're telling me is a fucking fantasy, and a sick one, too. Listen to me. We're friends. Hell, more than friends. We're partners. So I humored you by coming here. I let you tell me all about this book that tells me there's monsters everywhere. I let you try and justify why you broke into the Blevin house. And now, I've let you tell me the story about Mrs. Allen, the woman I saw yesterday morning grieving for her husband, being some kind of cultist. No, this is over, Hazel. I think you need help.
I don't need help.
I care about you, Hazel. I care about you a lot. And I'm willing to help you through this, but you need to think about what you're saying. It sounds...
What? What does it sound like, Jason? Does it sound like I'm crazy?
Hazel...
Oh, Jason. And I thought you were serious about wanting me back with the police.
What are you
You're
talking...
just like all of them! Davis, the chief, the deputy chiefs, all the other detectives, you're just like all of them! You see me as this broken person who lives in her own little world, her own little cave. I'm someone who needs help and needs some kind of pity. You're not my friend. You're just someone who used to be my partner and now sees me as this psycho. Well, guess what, Jason? Why don't you go fuck yourself, partner?
No, don't pull that card on me. You know damn well that I've always had your back. Even when you decided to leave the force.
Bullshit.
Who took you to drinks after you sucker punched Davis? Who came over to your apartment every day for a month and a half just to see if you were out of bed? Sometimes I question you and your judgment, but I've always had your back. I always put myself in the line of fire for you, and I don't get jack shit for it. I've always believed in you, but now you're asking me to believe in something that's completely insane. I mean, Hazel, you're talking absolute nonsense.
I'm going to say this one last time. I'm telling you the fucking truth about that crazy Mrs. Allen and about those guys that wrote this fucking book.
So, once again, you're telling me that I have to believe 6 men, including Daniel Blevin, one of the most influential members of Seattle society, wrote a book. But not just any book. They wrote a book that says that there are aliens beneath our feet and mutants are running around the city and fucking ancient gods, which are also real, are being worshipped by crazy people. And now, as the plot thickens, you've managed to meet one of these psychotic cultists, right? Let's see then. Let's take a look at this all-knowing book and see which fucked up thing Darla Allen believed in. Which one of these clearly imaginary things did Darla Allen, the farmer's wife, worship? Was it Satan? Oh, how about Santa Claus? Or was it Haster? What the fuck is a Haster? Tell me, Hazel, try and explain to me that Mrs. Allen worshipped the great king of
Don't be a fucking jackass, Jason. You're not supposed to use its name. It says that right there in the book.
It doesn't matter. This shit doesn't exist. It's all fantasy, like Lord of the Rings. No, it's not just fantasy. It's goddamn delusional. Daniel Blevin was dying of lung cancer, a cancer that was in its 4th stage and had probably already spread to his brain. He was losing his mind every day. No one ever saw him leave the house because he wasn't even lucid half the time. If you really did find the book in his house, he probably wrote it thinking he was called to.
No, he wrote this for me.
No, he didn't. He wrote it because he lost his grip on reality.
No, I can show you. I can make you believe me. We'll go back to the house.
We can't go back to the house, Hazel.
And why the hell not?
Mrs. Blevin is in full-time care now. Daniel's will stated if his wife stopped living in the house, it was to be demolished. The city signed the permits 4 days ago. No one's getting inside.
No, the book is true. It's all true.
Hazel, come on, look at this. It's complete bullshit. I mean, Christianity, that's believable. Islam, sure. Hinduism? Well, I have a hard time believing in it, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. This book? It's fucking insane. It is impossible. I'd have more chance in believing that there's an elephant god with 4 arms than lobster monsters on Pluto.
So you don't believe me? You think I'm sick?
I think you need help. Like I said, I care about you, Hazel. I want to help you through this.
Okay, then.
Where are you going? Why are you getting your coat?
We. Where are we going, Jason? Grab the book, your coat, and your keys.
What do you mean? Where are we going? I told you, the Blevin...
We're not going to the Blevins' mansion.
Then where are we going?
The Allens' farm.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
In the darkened pits, past the River of Styx, lies a hellish nightmare that spreads evil through space and time. He goes by many names: Beelzebub, Abaddon, Iblis, the Leviathan. But his true name is one that strikes fear in even the most aberrant abominations. He is Satan. And he is currently going through a midlife crisis. Follow the hilariously dark story of Satan as he battles his own personal demons in the Catholic Church in Our Friend Satan. Written by Dominic L. Marzek, Our Friend Satan has garnered 5-star reviews from sites like Comic Crusader saying, "Our Friend Satan is a 5-star book. My first solid 5. I loved it and I challenge anyone non-Catholic not to love it too. Read their introductory comic, contribute to their site on Kickstarter, and spread the word about Our Friend Satan. Links are listed in the show notes below."
And now, back to the show.
Jason's car drove down the dirt road of the Allens' farm, the headlights illuminating the barn and home. They had driven the hour from Seattle to the outskirts of Bellevue in silence, the early morning air their only company. When the car began driving down the dirt road, Hazel saw the headlights shine dimly on Mrs. Allen's home and the sinister barn.
What exactly is this going to prove, Hazel? That we aren't allowed to be here?
We're here to prove that I'm not crazy, and that I'm telling the truth.
Hazel, I said I think you need some help.
That's what my parents said too, and I haven't talked to them in over 2 years.
Look, I get it. You're upset. Let's just go back to your apartment and we'll talk about it there, okay?
No, I'm here to prove that I'm right. If this is just a cry for attention, then Mrs. Allen is alive and well. It'll only take 20 seconds.
Hazel, it's just... we can't be here, okay? The case is finished. I turned in the paperwork already. We can't be here without it being an active investigation.
It won't matter, Jason.
Right. Because she's dead. How stupid of me to forget.
Stop being a fucking prick and grab the book.
What for, Hazel? Are we going to hold hands and summon her back?
I'm not worried about being back here with the book. If Daniel Blevin is right, the Elder Sign will protect us from the one that lurks in the barn.
Here. Here is your stupid book.
There's also something I want to look at. The book has a section that may help me when I take a look, so if we could hurry it up.
This is so stupid. Can't we just go back to the apartment?
The barn is where it happened, so now that you have the book, let's head inside.
What? No! She'll know we're here and that we don't have a warrant. What the hell are you thinking?
Watch the house.
For what? I don't... What is wrong with you? Do you want us to get arrested?
Look.
Look at what?
None of the lights have turned on.
What?
Do you need me to fucking scream again to get my point across? The lights didn't turn on. She's not in there.
Okay, well, then she's gone. That doesn't mean that this isn't illegal.
Her car is hidden behind the house. Look, you can see its bumper sticking out. Why would she leave without her car? What, you think she wanted to go for a nice nightly stroll in the middle of nowhere? Feel pretty stupid? Yeah, well, the night's not over yet.
Hazel slipped into the barn, Jason following behind her. She took a sharp right inside the darkened barn, knowing exactly where to go, while Jason pulled out his phone for light.
Hold on. Where are you going? I can't see.
I've been here twice before, Jason. I know where I'm going. The crawl space is over here. Just follow me.
You're right. There is a crawl space here. Why wasn't this crawl space addressed in the police report? Why didn't detectives investigate it when we were here?
It was hidden beneath all those bales of hay. I found it when I came by to look for the murder weapon. I tried to get down there the first time, but there was this huge-ass lock on it. The door only just reopened last night when I was here looking through the barn by myself.
Without direction from a detective or a warrant.
Shut up.
Ugh, oh my god, what's that smell?
What smell?
You can't smell that? It smells like rotting meat. Just... hold on.
You alright?
Yeah, no, I'm okay. Just... Oh, that's such a god-awful smell.
Jason reached into his coat pocket, pulling out a small container of Vicks VapoRub. Screwing off the cap, he took a dab and placed it under his nose, the strong scent of the Vicks blocking the smell of decrepitcy. Placing the container back into his coat pocket, Jason turned back to face the entrance of the crawl space.
Is that your pen light down there, at the bottom of this shaft?
Yeah, I threw it down there just to make sure no one was there at the bottom.
You coming?
Yeah. You go first. I'll be right behind you.
Are you alright? You seem a little...
Yes, Jason, I'm fine. Can we please just not talk about it?
Fine. This must have taken months to dig out. What do you think it was used for?
Mrs. Allen told me it was originally used for storage until... The room I was in is down that hall. Let me grab my pen light before we head down. I'll need it if I want to look over those papers. I got it. You ready?
Ready as I can be.
Jason walked steadily through the tunnel, entering into the large dirt room. In the center was a metal bowl dug into the dirt. A naked woman was lying lifeless next to it, organs and tissue displayed outside of a hole she had carved in herself. Mrs. Allen. The blade she had used still clenched in her hand.
Holy shit! Mrs. Allen?
Jason?
Jesus! Oh, shit! Jesus! You were fucking right!
Jason, look, it's okay.
You didn't do this, right?
What?
You didn't kill her, did you?
What? Jason, what the fuck? Of course I didn't do this. I was tied up. Look, there's the rope right over there.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. You were right. She killed herself.
There's nothing we could have done, Jason. We couldn't have known.
She seemed so sad her husband was gone. She played me. She played us. I kept saying how Daryl Crick was acting just like Adam Mercer. How could I have not seen that Mrs. Allen was doing the exact same thing? How could I have not considered that she would want him gone?
Jason slumped to the ground.
Oh, God.
There was no way we could have known. Not without knowing exactly what to look for. Listen, Jason, I really need the book.
Why? What do you need it for?
There's some papers Mrs. Allen was reading off of to conduct the ritual. I need the book to read the symbols.
How?
Just give me the book, okay?
Yeah, sure. Here.
Look, at the back there's a section called the Kosnabi Index. It contains symbols and strange texts with their English or Latin interpretation to the side. It's all been alphabetized and put in the book, in case someone might need it.
So, you think this part of the book will explain why she killed herself?
Well, I already know why she killed herself, to...
Turn into...
Yeah. What I want to find out is who this group is. She says there's more of them and... Oh, what the fuck?
What?
The papers, they're gone. God, who could have taken them?
Does anyone else know about what's down here?
I don't know. Hold on, I've got another idea.
What now?
You may want to stand up and move to the side.
Why are you getting on the ground? What are you doing?
I saw there were some symbols on the bottom of this bowl. If I can... No, with the blood, there's no way I can see them. Maybe I can lift up the bowl... Ah! What the fuck?
What? What is it?
It's hot. Why is it so hot? God damn it. Okay, what if I just get my foot right here and... There we go. With the blood gone now, I can see the symbols clearly. I just need to find them in the book and we'll be golden.
Hazel, you can't just disturb this site. This is a crime scene.
Jason, we already know what happened. And if we were to investigate further without the book, we'd be wasting our time. The police would just rule it as a suicide, nothing more. This way we can at least find out more about the group that Mrs. Allen belonged to.
We can't just leave her body here. We can't leave her body here to rot.
Well, what do you expect us to do? She was a psychopath who killed herself. That's literally all that happened here.
Call the police, maybe? Alert someone that a woman is dead.
Okay, calm down. You're right, it's disrespectful to just leave her here. Even if she was a psychopath who orchestrated her husband's death using what I assume are demons. We'll call the county sheriff's office, all right? give an anonymous report about the body. Does that sound fine?
Yeah, all right. We'll put in a tip. Sure. Why would she do this?
Hopefully those symbols will help figure that out. I wrote down the symbols in the book. Hopefully I can find something useful later.
How can you just be so calm about this?
What is that supposed to mean? Earlier tonight, I was crying on the side of the road. I didn't handle this any better than you. I've just had more time to process it.
There's a dead body, and you're just acting so casual about all of this.
You're a cop, Jason. I was a cop. This is our life.
You saw someone cut themselves open, rip out their organs, then turn into some kind of unholy abomination.
Like you said, Jason, not everyone stays the same after seeing horrible things. I guess helping firefighters pull Steven out of that car prepared me for it.
What does the bowl say?
Nothing. The inscriptions near the rim were nothing important. The only ones that were transcribed in the index were the three in the bottom of the bowl. Azrael and Beelzebub, Lords of Darkness, then one called Yog Sothoth. Each symbol was inside a circle, and the circles were placed in some sort of triangle shape.
Like the Trinity.
Like what?
You don't know about the Trinity? Crap.
Who is it?
Oh God, please not now.
What? Who is it?
Hello? Sergeant Long! Yes, I'm up, sir. Yeah, I can be there in no time, sir. You got it. I'll be there. Yes. Goodbye.
What's happened?
My job, Hazel, my job is what happened. There's a protest or something getting violent. Davis and some officers are over there trying to calm everyone. I'm sorry. Can we please talk about this somewhere else? You know, somewhere where there isn't a body lying on the floor?
Yeah, sorry, we can go. Just hang on.
What are you doing now?
Grabbing the rope. There can't be any evidence of me being here.
Why not?
Because we want this to be an open and shut case for Bellevue. This needs to look like some sort of fucked up suicide and nothing more.
Okay, we have the rope. So does that mean we're finished here? I don't really want to be down here any longer.
Yeah, I'm finished. Let's get out of here.
I'm sorry I didn't listen to you.
It's all right. I didn't really give you much of a choice. I should be apologizing to you, actually. Bringing you here and shoving it in your face was kind of a dick move.
Davis said that Bellevue City Chamber called again. Apparently, the city has some sort of construction going on and a protest has stalled the workers.
So, why do they need a detective?
It got violent this morning. Someone instigated a huge riot. Davis was sent out to arbitrate, and he wants me to be there to assist if need be.
Well, it is 5 in the morning, so I guess you do have work to do. Do you mind if I come just to observe? I won't be in the way at all, I promise.
Hazel didn't want Jason to leave her. After what happened the night before, she didn't want to be alone, in case what Daryl Crick said was true, that they were watching.
Yeah, all right. Just, please, don't make me regret it.
I promise, Jason, I won't be a burden. It'll be good to, I don't know, just be around someone. Besides, you said you enjoyed working together again.
Yeah, well, that was before you called me over to tell me Mrs. Allen killed herself. We've been up all night. Let's get this done and head straight back to the city, all right?
Oh, sure, no problem.
Jason and Hazel drove back towards the Seattle metropolis, driving just to the outskirts of the city. Woods passed by quick, and Jason drove, too anxious about what he had just seen to doze off at the wheel. Hazel, however, had crashed, placing her head against the window, covering her eyes with her right arm. Soon enough, Jason's car pulled off the concrete street and onto a dirt clearing that bulldozers had made for the construction workers' cars. The workers were out of their vehicles, standing beside them, looking at the large wall of people that stood steadily in front of the tree line, arms linked.
Great. Hazel, Hey, wake up. Hazel, we're here. You need to get up.
Fine. Oh, wow, that's a lot of people.
Just how I want to start my morning. A body in a barn basement and a line of hippies screaming profanities at cops. Let's just get this over with so I can sleep. They should be down by the crowd. I hope Davis isn't too pissed that I brought you along.
Don't worry, Jason. I promised I wouldn't cause problems. I won't say a word.
Look, I never said you couldn't talk. Besides, what if one of those freaks says something stupid? Your wit is the reason I brought you along after the night we just had together.
Don't use the word freaks, Jason. They're just passionate about their cause. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm fine with them having their own opinions. That's the beauty of America. I just don't want to listen to their opinions shouted at me along with profanities.
You do understand that deforestation is a real issue, right?
Maybe in Latin and South America. And if they want to protest against it that much, they should move there and heckle those countries' police forces. I'm a homicide detective. I've got better things to do with my time than deal with tree huggers. I don't give a
Reed!
Sir? Sorry, we made it down here as soon as we could.
Took you long enough. Get down here.
Yes, sir. Sorry for taking so long.
I'm happy you were up. Surprisingly, you made better time than I anticipated, Reed. I expected you to be late.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I was in the area.
Funny. I see that you brought Miss Blair along with you.
I'm not happy about seeing you either, Davis, so let's not worry about being passive-aggressive. I sure won't.
Wonderful to see you again, Hazel. Detective Reed, this here is Patrick Sutherland. He's the leader of the Forest Defense Organization based out of Olympia. And this is the foreman for the construction crew the Parks and Rec Department hired, Travis Langley.
So this isn't a logging company thing?
No, it isn't, Mr. Langley. If you could fill the detective in on what's been happening.
Look, I already tried explaining this. We were hired to bulldoze a small area of the forest to make into a parking lot.
A parking lot? For what?
The Parks and Recreation people want to make this whole area into a hiking trail. Preserve the area and its meaning to the Native American groups by making it into a park. Not only would the park be beneficial to the natives, but it's also to preserve the natural beauty of the Seattle Bellevue area. A little patch of green right outside the city. This new hiking trail would protect the land and the surrounding forest or something. I don't really know. I wasn't listening to the lady telling me all about what this park would do. All I do know is that I was hired to build a simple parking lot, but these idiots won't let us get our machines past.
That's because you'll be killing these trees to make some stupid parking lot. I mean, it shouldn't be dictated by the city government to demolish these trees for what, some stupid parking lot?
Wait, didn't Langley say that by making this a trail, it'd protect all the trees in the entire area?
Like I said, I don't know. I was just hired to make a parking lot, but that's my guess.
For your information, Jason, it would.
Well, then wouldn't that be saving more trees? Why protest the protection of this entire lot when it's already being protected?
Because the city wants to bulldoze the trees behind us to make a parking lot. They kill these trees simply for convenience.
I've told you 100 times, buddy, we're not the ones that want to put a parking lot here. We're just the guys hired to do it. That's it. I don't care about what the Parks and Rec people want to do with it.
You're the labor the local government is using to destroy this ecosystem. Your tools are used only for profit. I mean, it may be your job to destroy these trees, but it is our job to protect them. They can't speak out against you. They can't say no. It's our job to protect them from people like you.
Yeah, well, who's protecting us from you lunatics? Throwing rocks at our machinery, breaking out our truck windows? We should be the ones protected here.
As the great author Dr. Seuss once said,
Oh, please, don't.
I speak for the trees have no tongues.
Yes, well, we speak for the law, and the law is pretty clear. By inciting a riot, you've caused the police to arbitrate this matter. Mr. Langley, do you have the papers from the city with you?
Yeah, in the truck. You want me to grab them?
If you could, yeah, that'd probably help. Just bring them here and we'll get this over with.
What made you think that a riot would solve anything?
We didn't. Well, at least I didn't. This is my 15th protest. I mean, I know what works and what doesn't.
15 other times, huh? Good to know you're causing problems for other people, Mr. Sutherland, and not just us.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sutherland. Detective Reed is a bit tired. He's had a long night. In your defense, though, I think what you're doing is actually quite noble.
Thank you. At least someone understands.
Here's the permits, Detective.
Do you mind if I take a look?
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Langley. Well, it looks like you've got everything needed to continue with the construction. So, Mr. Sutherland, I'm going to have to ask you to cease this protest. We're done here.
Thank God.
Wait, you can't just do that. What about the Constitution? What about our right to free speech?
Yeah, no. Free speech is a privilege, a lot like driving. You attack the workers, that's reckless endangerment and assault. You break windows and destroy machinery, that's vandalism and destruction of property. You've committed crimes, so now you have to leave. You're lucky we're not arresting you all for this. We're just giving you a nice slap on the wrist.
No, I want the one that started this arrested.
All right, calm down, Mr. Langley. Who exactly started what?
She was one of the protesters, small figure with braided brown hair. She ran up with a tire iron and smashed up my truck when we pulled up here this morning. That's what started all this.
Mr. Sutherland, care to expand on that?
Her name is Daisy. This is her second protest. She's a bit more radical than the rest, but somehow she managed to rally everyone up when we saw it wasn't going too well. We all saw that the construction crew wasn't going to stop unless we took action, so she did. Daisy ran up and smashed out this dude's window. Like I said, I didn't want to start a riot, but after Daisy did that, it was out of my hands. I don't know where she is now. She ran into the forests when the police pulled up.
Well, great.
Mr. Sutherland, tell everyone to leave, now. Daisy will be coming back to Seattle for questioning and booking. Here's my card. Call in a few hours. I can tell you where she's being held. You can pick her up then after her bail's been posted. Well, looks like we'll have to do a sweep of the forest's interior.
But that could take hours, Davis.
It's better to get it done now, Reed. I don't need complaints from the Parks Department saying we further delayed construction.
Fine. Hazel, come with me. Looks like we're going for a walk in the forest.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Hey there, everyone. It's Riley Kveton. We normally don't do 2 advertisements in one episode, but we feel that this is worthy of an exception. During the month of October, and only for Elder Sign Radio listeners, Holmes Jewelry is providing a 20% discount on all Lovecraftian products. That's right, 20% off all necklaces, earrings, cufflinks, studs, and more, just for our listeners. How do you get this discount? It's easy. Check in the show notes for our link to gain your discounted price. But you need to hurry. This offer ends on Halloween, so get on over to Holmes Jewelry, check out their products, and tell your friends. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. This is Riley Kveton. Thanks for listening.
And now, back to the show.
Leaves crunched under their shoes as the two made their way through the thick woods. Jason led the way, his eyes glancing past low-hanging branches and ancient overturned trunks. The two watched for any movement as they went, searching for the missing protester, Daisy.
I can't believe I'm walking through a forest on literally no sleep.
Could be worse.
No, it can't. I'm goddamn miserable right now.
Well, it could be raining. So what was that about the Trinity back at the barn?
Do we really have to talk about this?
We don't have to if you don't want to. I just thought you had some interesting input.
Hazel, last night, the last few hours have been... That book you have, the Elder Tome, it's... If what it says is true, then we're essentially living lies. Billions of people are walking around right now with these sort of blindfolds on, going about the motions. Panicking about picking up their kids or rent or literally anything. I was one of those people, worrying about promotions and if I had gas in my car. But now I know that just outside my vision are these things, and we don't know what they want, Hell, we don't know what they are. I never wanted to know any of this, or be a part of it for that matter. I don't know how you dealt with learning all this, but I'm clearly not doing particularly well.
No, I get it. You weren't prepared for this.
No, I was not.
And I kind of roped you into this. I shouldn't have forced you into it. I should have considered your feelings in this, and I definitely shouldn't have brought you to see Mrs. Allen's body to prove a point. Even though I was right.
Is this your way of saying that you're sorry? Because it's not really working for me.
I'm sorry, Jason. It's my fault that you're feeling like this, and it's my fault that we're walking through the forest on literally no sleep.
Look, the Trinity is something they teach you in church. It represents a sort of triad with the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Wait, so you're helping me now? What happened to you not wanting to be a part of it?
I don't, but you brought me into this. If you're going to throw yourself into it, I can at least help make sure you're safe.
Okay. Then how does the Holy Trinity have anything to do with the symbols at the bottom of that ritual bowl?
What I was saying about the three symbols was that they were placed in a triangle. Sometimes in pictures or paintings, the Trinity is represented by a triangle. Maybe the three are connected like a trinity.
Like what? Some sort of unholy trinity?
I don't know. Let me remind you that I have been awake for literally 30 hours. In all honesty, if you want to figure out if I'm right or not, find out what those symbols mean. It's as easy as that.
I never took you for the religious type.
Well, you never asked, did you?
No, I guess I never...
Hey, I found something.
The voice traveled through the woods, echoing throughout the branches.
It came from over there, hurry!
Together, they ran through the forest, branches whipping and smacking them as they did so. Abruptly, Jason and Hazel broke through the branches and into a small circular clearing. Standing off to one side of the clearing was an officer who turned his head to the panting detectives now standing near him.
Officer, what did you...
Holy shit!
Upon the ground was a large red pool of blood, splattered all over the dirt. Bits of gore and meat were strewn about, but only pieces the size of a dime, no larger. Torn articles of clothing were drenched in the crimson juices, but there was no body. Standing tall in the center of the clearing, towering up toward the open sky, was an object. As black as the void of space, a large rectangular pillar stood. The pillar was completely smooth and shone in the sunlight that poured from between the trees. However, in the polished rock, one could not see their reflection. It was like staring into a dark abyss. The black obelisk towered over the detectives and the now arriving officers with a height of 15 feet. Toward the top of each angle were strange carvings, but there were no signs of chipping. No imperfections could be seen in the horrifically perfect design of the symbols. Jason turned his head around to look at Hazel, who stood in awe of the obsidian pillar.
Hazel, what is that?
I have no idea.
When no answer was reached, Jason simply turned back to the pillar, his eyes darting around at the clothing on the blood-soaked dirt, while the officers behind him murmured and stared at the black monolith before them.
Elder Sign was created and produced by Thomas McCain. It was written by Thomas McCain, Toby Riggs, and Lilandra Chrisman Stratton. Directed by Thomas McCain. Elder Sign is copyrighted under a Creative Commons license with not all rights owned exclusively. The voice of the narrator was David Zybert. The voice of Hazel Blair was Jasmine Jiang. The voice of Jason Reed was Anthony Mendoza. The voice of Davis Long was Kirk Gardner. The voice of Travis Lanley was Alan Aston. The voice of Patrick Sutherland was Brian Ault. Miscellaneous voices were performed by myself, Riley Kveton. Music was provided and approved by Peter Helland, Cryochamber Dark Ambiance, and Bong Ra. You can find the music of Peter Helland at his website at peterbhelland.com, or just check the link in the show notes. The many musics of Cryochamber can be found at their site cryochamberlabel.com. Bong Ra's music, including songs performed by the Kilimanjaro Dark Jazz Ensemble and the Fuji Doom Jazz Corporation, can be found at their site listed in the show notes. Bong Ra's current project, The Thing with Five Eyes, can be found at the project's Bandcamp, thethingwithfiveeyes.bandcamp.com. Stay up to date with everything happening with the show by following us on Twitter or liking our page on Facebook. For full-time coverage on the show, you can also join our newsletter. All of these links are listed in the show notes below. Also remember to check out our Patreon and to review the show on iTunes. This episode, we'd like to thank our friends Invictus Stream, Return to Camp Blood Podcast, and Lovecraft Easing for their kind words and continued support. We'd also like to give a shout out to Jonathan Kashawagi Wood for donating to our show on Patreon. Thanks, Jonathan. Next time on Elder Sign, we continue with Chapter 2, The Black Pillar. Thanks for listening.